I grew up during the J-horror craze. Ringu, Ju-on, Kaido. They were my childhood. A very scary and disturbing childhood. Many of you probably share my experience. Even in the West, you still get to experience them through Hollywood remakes. Except, one of them is not like the others. The Eye was actually a Chinese horror, a Hong Kong-Singaporean production to be exact. While heavily inspired by the aesthetics of J-horror, The Eye is fundamentally a Chinese story, reflecting on traditional Chinese superstitions, the morality, and the philosophy. So today, we are going to examine this film by comparing and contrasting it with J-horror, as well as other Chinese horror films, to see the difference and similarities. Let's get spooky, shall we? The Eye is a 2002 Hong Kong-Singaporean horror. The Chinese title is... While it literally means seeing ghosts, it really more of an idiom that refers to the ability to see ghosts, like the Sixth Sense, or the event of being haunted by a ghost. The story revolves around Mun, a young woman who's blinded since age 2, but she receives a cornea transplant at the start of the film, restoring her eyesight. That, however, also brings a curse. She can not only see the normal world, she can see ghosts. With this ability, she sees the ghost of her young friend, moments before said friend dies from cancer and leaves this world. Witnessing the lingering ghosts of a mother and child, who try to talk to the husband to no avail. For as long as horror cinema has existed, the potential to be killed is used as an element to incite fear in the hearts of audience. There's the process of killing as seen in Ju-on, and there's the anxiety of going to die as seen in Ringu. But in The Eye, there is no killing. For the majority of the film, Mun is a witness with no threat of dying. The true horror, as she comes to understand, is the depression that are associated with death. Ingrained in Chinese Buddhist culture is the concept of death as part of the natural process of life. And that death is not a moment in time, but a continuation of life. There is a certain formality surrounding death in Chinese culture. Proper burial ground is important and affects the fortune of future generations. Treatments of the dead demands kindness and respect. Failure to do so may bring misfortune, anger the spirits, or, if you are in a zombie film, awaken the dead. In Chinese religion, the dead are never truly dead. Their humanities don't leave them after they die. This is why ghosts in The Eye is much more lucid than the angry spirits from the J-horror classics. Souls who are content simply move on to their next life. Thus, the only ghosts you see are the ones that are still clinging to their regrets, unable to move on from their loved ones. This is where the horror came from. The depression, it is terrifying, it is sorrowful. Another notable haunting in this film comes from the ghost of a school kid, who, in each encounter, always asks, Later, it is revealed that his parents were accusing him of throwing away his report card in a bad attempt at hiding his bad grade from them. Their distress got to him, and in a fit of anger and frustration, he jumped out the window. While I wouldn't necessarily call the parents evil, it is fairly clear that the livings were the ones in the wrong. It is a theme as old as time. The evil of men outweighs the evil of monsters, as seen in horror classics such as Frankenstein. While in contemporary J-horror, the cursed ghosts are also created by the evils of humans, it does not change the fact that the spirits have lost their humanity and are just an evil forces that murders indiscriminately. That's not how ghosts in Chinese story works. In the Chinese Taoist belief, there is white in the black and black in the white. Nothing is truly so absolute. In Legend of the White Serpent, for example, the titular white serpent disguises as a human woman and is living happily with her human husband. When a monk pays them a visit, he finds out the true identity of the white serpent. The misguided monk believes that all monsters are malicious, so he seals her away, tearing apart an innocent family. Humans are capable of just as much cruelty, if not more. With that in mind, it should not come as a surprise that the ghost-seeing curse came from a woman who has the same ability. Because of her ability, this woman had been bullied by other villagers her entire life, which causes her to commit suicide. Her mother, although supportive for her entire life, is unable to accept the fact that her daughter chooses death over her. The resentment she feels makes her daughter's soul unable to move on. It is as the movie A Chinese Ghost Story says, without spoiling too much, let's just say that at the end of the film, just as Mun comes to terms with her newfound abilities, she lost her eyesight in an accident, blinded once more. It may seem ironic, but as the ending monologue hints at, Mun comes out of the event more content and happy than before, with the film putting the emphasis on a certain enlightenment. To understand the significance of the ending, we must first discuss the two hauntings that, no doubt, many of you have noticed the similarities between. The schoolboy who lost his report card and the main curse from the village girl. In both cases, they were bullied into committing suicide, and their souls linger in this world, reliving the trauma over and over. On the surface, it seems to be just a version of the limbo, but it's a bit more than that. Reoccurring tragedy is also a common trope in Chinese horror stories. In 1999's anthology film, The Mirror, 4 separate stories are told. All of them end in horrific murders, with eerie similarities. On the surface, it seems like the mirror is cursed to cause all these horrific killings. But really, it is fairly obvious that all the horrors are caused by human greed. And the mirror merely reveals the monsters inside us. Yes, humans are scarier than monsters. And when watching this film, the feeling of things are doomed to repeat is always pleasant, much the same way as the ghosts in the eye. This concept of fated to suffer endlessly is core to Buddhism. To oversimplify things, it was said that before Buddha achieved nirvana, he realized that the process of birth, aging, sickness, and death is an unavoidable process of suffering, and the thing that keeps us there is our desire for everything. Thus, the goal of Buddhism is to free oneself from the vicious cycle of reincarnation, free from the endless cycle of birth and suffering. It is because of this we have films like The Mirror, where the greatest horror is not hell or limbo, but adrift endlessly in this cycle fueled by greed. And it is why in The Eye, Mun loses her eye at the end. It is to signify to the audience that she is free from her own cycle of desire. it is not that being blind is better for her, but rather blinded or sighted makes no difference to her now. The Eye left quite a legacy. Lead actress Angelica Lee received both the Hong Kong Film Award and Taiwan Golden Horse Award for her performance, essentially the Oscar of the two respective regions. It spawned 2 sequels, as well as an American remake. Outside of Asia, however, the film, while critically praised, doesn't get much recognition beyond just another solid but derivative film, which is a shame, because underneath its seemingly derivative exteriors, there are a lot of clever ideas inspired by the unique culture of East and Southeast Asia. Just the idea of horror coming not from death, but the depression of seeing death, is something that I don't think I have seen from any other movie. So this Halloween, if you want to see something familiar yet fresh, or if you are an aspiring horror writer, I have just the film for you.